Hello everyone, welcome back to VLSI for All. Today, we have come up with another Founders Talk, and today we have Paul Cons, who is CEO and founder at PNC. And this particular podcast is going to be a fruitful one because Sir has come here with more than 20 years of experience in chip design, architect, verification, and whatnot. So glad to have you, Sir, on this episode.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate your time, idea, thoughts, what you have put into it, and the energy and passion you are putting into this efforts. And I think this will be very useful for many in the industry and for the next generation.
Yeah, definitely. Sir, so let's start with your formal introduction. Like, where did you done your education from, and what is your experience in this field? Just a formal introduction to let get the audience get grip of it.
Yes, so this is Paul. So I finished my BE in Electronics and Communication in 1996. I started my VLSI career from 1997 end. So I was lucky to get into VLSI. And those days there were very few companies who are doing chip design in Bangalore. And I started with U&I Scotty Computers. I was very lucky. Initially, I was recruited for embedded. After 3 months, they thought, oh, this guy is doing okay, very good in modeling the CPU in C++. They told, why not you try VHDL? So then they pushed me into it. And then I was pushed into a project for a RISC processor design into Russia. And that's how I got into VLSI. And from there, my journey started. I was 1 year in Russia. Then I moved to US for 3 years. Then I came back to India for a couple of years and I worked for Synopsys. And then I worked for UK for a couple of years, then came back again and then started my startup. And then I sold the startup in 2013, then moved to UK again. I worked for two great services companies in UK, Ensilica and Sondrel. And it has been a good journey till now. And I've done more than 15 chip tape outs, predominantly verification. I've done some designs. I've done some, from the architecture design, up to silicon validation I've done, but predominantly I've done system Verilog UVM based functional simulation and verification.
Great. Sir, you told, like you started your career in 1996, and then I'm sure that it might be difficult to at that time to actually enter this new VLSI, especially when not much of awareness is in there, and especially when there are less numbers of companies in the market. So sir, how did you actually figure out in which field of electronics you would be carrying out your journey into? Like, was it solely through your experience? Like, as you said that you started with embedded and then you started moving deeply into this field of VLSI, or was it your passion or something like that that carried you into this field?
So one thing I believe is you should do what you like. If you make passion as your job, you don't have to work for a day. And I used to like digital design from the days of my engineering, or you can say from the days of POC. In POC itself, I had taken electronics. So I was a PCME student and then moved on. And I like digital electronics. And when I started designing the RISC processor using VHDL, I thought it stuck with me. And then I thought I kind of like digital design and programming. So that's why I moved into verification, because verification I found is more responsibility. And then you're using the designing or you're verifying a hardware using your programming skills. So I had always liked the digital design concept and the programming aspect, and automating regression. This was my natural liking. So I think that is what I fitted. And I strongly believe as a verification engineer, the design 100%. Normally, a good designer knows 90%, but it's a verification guy who knows 100% the design, and he is responsible for that design to work properly according to the spec, according to the requirement, and according to the protocol spec.
Nice. And sir, there is one question that I ask to most of the founders and CEO. Actually, there is a notion that the one who do startups, or maybe someone is CEO, then that guy needs to be an intelligent one. So sir, for just students, how would you like to describe yourself back in your days? Like, how were you as a student? Like, were you the topper one or average guy? How would you describe yourself?
I think by God's grace, I was in the top sets, but I would not say that I was always the topper. Like, I was not. Somewhere in the engineering, I had realized my skills is more important. So I was accumulating the skills. I was studying the subjects at the same time. I was accumulating the other skills like communication skills, customer interface, leadership skills. During the college days, I was a magazine secretary, class leader, and interacting with people from different parts of India. So I was accumulating my social skills, like, basically apart from IQ, there is a EQ, and these days there is a SQ, right? So I was already accumulating something about IQ, EQ, and SQ, right? It is not only about your IQ always. So I was in the top six. Yes, in my PUC also, I was in the top set in St. Aloysius. I was, always proud to be a classmate of Arvind Adiga, who wrote a book, and he's a Booker Prize winner. But I was in the top set in St. Aloysius, and then I was at almost in the top set in my engineering. Yes, I had scored 95 in my 10th, so I was there, but I was not always aiming for always be the 1 or 2 or in the class. I was always in the best 5 or somewhere. Doesn't matter, but I was always thinking that my skills should manage, and I was always interacting. And as far as you have a passion for digital design and you're problem solving, you're getting the things done, you will succeed. It is not all about only bookish knowledge and only mugging and keeping it inside. It's about your understanding the concept and applying it to solve a problem. Bigger the problem you solve, bigger the value you create. Bigger the value you create, faster you grow.
Nice. And sir, can you just give us a glimpse about which was your first company and what was your job role over there?
So my first company was Hyundai Scotty Computers in Bangalore. And in the first 3 months, as I told you, I did modeling of a RISC processor using C. I still remember writing 12,000 lines of code within 3 months. And I still wonder, I alone wrote it, the whole CPU within 3 months. I'm sure that was not of good quality because you cannot write so much, but I wrote it. And then that is when the manager realized, look, I think this guy understands the processor very well. Why don't you go ahead and do the VHDL design? So I didn't get any formal training. They just gave me the LRM and put me on the flight. And when I landed, I knew VHDL. And that was those days. There was no formal training those days. They just gave you a spec and told, go and learn this. And same thing happened again when I was going to US. They gave me the Sonnet SGH spec and they told, by the time you reach there, you better know Sonnet SGH spec. So this was the adaptiveness and eagerness to learn and learn new things quickly, fastly, and adapt to the situations. So that is the most important skill you need to learn, I believe, as a engineering students, that you need to learn new skills fast and start applying it and start adapting to the latest things required.
So like a company actually realized your potential, and depending on that, you were given the on-site to the US. Okay, that's great. So like, what was your first experience as a design verification engineer, and what skills and challenges you faced through your first breakthrough? Especially you told that you were not given any formal training.
So it was interesting, like, but luckily I was working with my technical director. At even 3 months of experience, I was lucky to work with my technical director who was 30 years experience. The best thing I will say is, of course, you have to learn from Google, your books, videos, etc. But working with the smart guy, you learn from them. You just, learn from them like a sponge. Just interacting few words while walking, talking, cafeteria, you learn. And my challenges was I was learning and I was asking intelligent questions. And as it goes along, you learn, you adapt, you apply. So those days we were doing verification also in VHDL, and we were using assembler and initial days, and we were finding bugs, and we were talking to the designers, and we were learning.
Okay, yeah, talking about learnings, like so far you have traveled a lot of places, like from starting your journey from India to till US. And what is the most important thing that you have learned so far? Like, what are the steps you have followed for your successful career?
I feel one thing, if I have to say, is focus and hard work, passion, energy, managing your energy well, managing your time and managing your energy well. So, and learn from your seniors, have right mentors in your life, ask right questions. Sometimes I've missed that in my life. I've done some mistakes, but always have right mentors listen to their experience, and it will save you doing a mistake by yourself.
Right. And like from start of your career, you work in states. What differences you have observed in terms of work culture opportunities compared to that of India?
I think India, US, Europe, Israel, UK, everything has got their own culture. Small differences are there, but at the end, you have to deliver results. Work-life balances is slightly different in different parts of the world, according to the company you work, according to the manager you have, according to the phase of life, according to the phase of projects. But it is up to you to manage the work-life balance. But of course, depending on the culture, there is a different small variations. And as far as you manage it, there were times when I worked for a company, and when I was 5 years of experience, I used to work for 18 hours. Sometimes I used to come to home at 2 o'clock and go back at 4 o'clock in the morning. So I used to sleep 2 hours and go back. So yes, but when I came to Europe, it's more balanced. 9 to 6, if you work really productively good, I realized that's a sweet spot. You can deliver excellent results with the work-life balance, working exactly 8 to 9 hours with the best mind, applying innovation.
Right. And like apart from like doing job for a company, did you ever thought of starting your own company? If no, what makes you to start a company? If yes, when?
So I have started the company now. This is the second time I'm starting. I've started and I've sold the company in 2005 to 2012. Now again, I'm starting. I think starting a company is it depends upon various factors. But I would say if someone is starting a company, have a right mentors, understand business plan. Just because you are a good verification engineer doesn't become a good entrepreneur. It's something like telling that, if you're a good chef, you cannot be a good restaurant owner or a successful restaurant planner. So your technical skills doesn't matter in business. It matters. It's one of the part, but not you need to know sales, marketing, operations, finance to make it all successful. So I would say if you want to start a company, write a business plan, right? And don't start with the 4 engineers at startup company, because you'll all have a same skill set. You don't have a skill set of marketing, sales, finance, operations. These type of skills are required to make a successful company. And always keep the end in mind. You need to have a plan. You need to have a 90 days plan, 1 year plan, 3 year plan, 5 year plan, and then you have to adapt as it goes on.
Yeah. And so like you told, like not just the technical, you also need to be good with like some of the other soft skills to be maybe a manager or a CEO or a leader. So like how would you describe your learnings through these soft skills? Like was it like it was natural within you as like a student, or did you learn this over time by just looking at people, looking at the mentors?
I think I can say that, from the engineering college, I was accumulating the skills. But every time it's a learning. I think leadership, management, it is not an inborn skill according to me. It is an acquired skill. You have to have a passion to read books, listen to videos, listen to the lectures. You have to spend time, money, and energy attending courses, reading books. I would say read the books, read many books, at least read one book per month. These days this is very open world. You have got a Kindle, you have got Audible, you have got different ways to see YouTube. Listen to this podcast like this, you will learn. Keep learning and keep talking to the important people. Keep attending the events, keep interacting in LinkedIn, keep posting and keep reading the blog post of experiences, keep learning from the mistakes of others. And I think that is what will make it. But still, it doesn't guarantee you a complete success in the first time. I've also learned through some mistakes, some failures. Failures is a good stepping stone to the success. You have to learn certain things. Out of the 10 things you do, if you do 8 things right, it's all right. 2 things will go wrong. That's no problem. You should be open to be failure. You should rebound. You should be able to open up your mind and accept the vulnerability and go ahead.
Yeah. And there's just one question that popped in my mind. Like you like started from India, then US, then UK, Russia. Like how do you actually came this visibility of traveling to different countries? Like was it because there was people from different nations with your team, or like there were
I think
opportunities?
Opportunities. I think it was mostly opportunities, and sometimes a decision. Sometimes I would always wanted to work where things are happening and wanted to learn different cultures and wanted to learn in a different types of designs, different types of people. Today I work with the European people, UK people, Israel people, US people, Japanese, right? So it all gives you a different perspective, more vibrant, more diversity, and more inclusive. It is more vibrant, and you are able to deliver faster, better, productive, efficiency. You can learn something from everyone.
Right.
And that was my thinking from long, that I need to work with different people in different countries, and with the different types of products, different type of projects, different type of companies. So all this makes you a better person and good at what you are.
Nice. Okay, so now Casper Technology is your first startup. So first of all, I would like to know, like, what was your mindset at back then? Like, why did you thought like this will work for you, and how were you sure that this is definitely going to work for you? And like, what was your experience with starting this company? And of course, did you face any challenges?
I think, I was, in fact, if I have to look back, I was very less experienced when I was starting that. I was just 7 years experience.
Hmm.
Probably I learned through that first 1 or 2 years of failures and learning the hard way, the business models, and hiring people, hiring right coaches, having right mentors. First 2 years in that journey, I learned a lot by losing a lot of money, time, energy.
Mhm.
And I learned by failures, right? There's very few startups were there in VLSI those days in 2005, right? So I learned and experienced it, and then I course corrected, and it was a hard journey. So I had to pay a lot of price to learn a lot of things what I've learned, and it was hard, and no support was there. And of course, there are a few people who stuck with me, the few people who left me, but today they're still in good touch with me. Everyone who has worked with me are in good touch with me. They
Hmm.
know that they've got a break because of some good starting points, right? And they appreciate sometimes after leaving also, later also they appreciate that, right? Sometimes they may not appreciate at that point, but they'll appreciate later the guidance given, and opportunity given, and working together, all that thing. So that happens. Attrition is very important. I used to take up people, train, and then people used to leave within 2 months, 3 months. So I think because of various reasons, there are big companies used to post their recruiter outside my office, and later they used to tell me, Paul, you are from your company, you will train nicely, then we hire. It's easier for us to hire from you than train ourselves, right? So it happens. But then I think, yeah, we need to guard our business. We have to make sure our ship doesn't sink. So you learn it with the experience, with the hard knock, losing money, then you recover.
Right. And during this journey, during this hardship, did you ever like thought of like there's always a self-doubt in your mind, like why are you doing this? Like anyway, like you were comfortable in your maybe
Yeah.
working for some other company. So why did you actually like did you ever thought like let's roll back? It's still
Oh yeah. So
okay.
I think many times I've thought, it's better
Yeah.
to roll back and then you do it. It happens. But then I always want. I think there were certain good people also. Like when I see good people in the 20 people I hire, everyone are good. Some people will leave, I go early, but the impact what I have on others, when I see that, sometimes it may be just a message. I still keep getting messages from my people who have started with me in 2005, 2007. Sir, oh, sir, I'm in Austria, I'm in US, I'm in this company. Now we all started together. I'm thankful to you. So that sort of thing keeps me going. It's not all about only money. It's not all about only successful exits. It's all about the impact what you have with the teams around. Yes, you get a doubt that yes, is it the right thing you have done? Is it the right course? Or how could have done it better? Business models evolve. Business, how many partners you have? What are the you can always do it better. When you look at the hindsight, you can always do it differently. Same thing like verification. You always, whatever verification you do, at the end of the project, you'll say, oh, I could have done it better. Or someone will come from outside and say, oh, you do it differently. So it's easy to be on the other side and criticize the entrepreneurs or the owners who run it, because they are the people who take the risk and do it. Like, so especially it happens in India. I always remember the joke that, right? So in India, without being just saying, right, a chai wala sitting in the
Mhm.
outside the office, he will always say, oh, this is how our prime minister can run it. This is how the Tendulkar can bat. But he will not be doing his chai better, but he will be telling about how Tendulkar should bat and the prime minister should run the
Yeah.
company. but he knows but he'll not be doing the chai. What is his work? He'll not be doing properly, but he will be telling that my Prime Minister Tendulkar can bat like this. So this always happens. So when you're in the entrepreneur journey, the people sitting outside will tell, "Oh, this you could have done like this, not this that." But there are few people who understand and they support. A lot of my friends have supported me. A lot of people have told me like, "Oh, Paul, this is good thing you're doing. It's okay. Sometimes you go to low, you go out with the friends, they support you." A lot of my engineering friends, a lot of my good friends have always supported me and told, "Okay, if there's any problem, let us know. We can help you out." Even that word helps always.
Right. And just to let the viewers know, like, what was the aim of the vision of the company? What problems do company was like looking to solve in the market?
Basically, we were trying to solve the services, niche services
Mm,
at that point. And we were also trying to build product in my first thing, embedded product. We were ahead of the market. We were building the embedded product because we couldn't do the product in the chip because it was hundreds of millions. We didn't have
mm,
that sort of money. So we were trying to build a product in embedded and in the software space. So we were building some our own IPs and products while we are doing services. So model was services will feed into the products. So we were investing into the products and we were partially successful, but the knowledge what we gained out of it will be was useful in the future, and now it's been useful. But yes, we did some products. Partially it was successful in many other things. I would not say huge success, but medium success. But we did embedded products, we did software products. We helped a lot of startups to do it in Bay Area. So in that way, it was okay.
right. And like, what differences you observe when you are an employee and the founder of CEO of a company?
I think as an employee, you're a little bit cool, right? You're not. You're at the end of the day, you'll get your salary. You are going and moving ahead. But as a company owner, not only the salary part, you are responsible for that 20, 30, 50, 100 families whom you are supporting, right? That gives you a little bit of a responsibility feeling. Like if you start failing and if you're not able to meet the revenue, so there are 100 families or 50 families depending on you. So that gives a little bit of a sort of a impact and so a little bit of a pressure. But when you're employee, you don't care, right?
Right,
So
right, right.
you're not employing anyone. You're as far as you get your salary, that's fine. If not, you can manage your family anyhow. But when you are responsible for that 50 to 100 family, then I think you have to be more responsible person. You should have empathy. You should be having integrity. You need to think like more with more responsibility becomes more accountability, right? With more power comes more accountability and more responsibility.
Right. Yeah. And moving forward, like if I'm not wrong, like you were then positioned for like principal engineer at SOC design verification consultant at Silica. So like what was this about? Like did you like
So basically, I wanted to go back and when you run a company, normally you use little bit touch with the nitty-gritties and technical details. So I wanted to reinvent. By then, the technology had moved out. So I
Mhm.
wanted to go back and work
Right.
hands-on. So then Silica went and worked hands-on again. And then again, I rebuilt my technical skills because you will lose 1 or 2 years. You are doing a little bit different. You'll lose on the
Hmm.
latest and greatest. So
Right.
I learned and really worked for 3 years in Silica, then again 3 years in Sondral. And so that my technical know-how today, even today, I can code, I can write spec, I can do verification planning from verification strategy, verification planning to coverage closure with all the three types of tools that is
Mhm.
Synopsys, Cadence, uh, Siemens CDA, that is Mentor. So I'm hands-on and I think that gave me the advantage when I reinvented. I worked for 6, 7 years in between. So I know I'm in sync with the industry, technology and management advice. And I also learned a lot of management techniques working with the Ensilica and Sonral. So they are management techniques. So I had blended and I learned from a lot of strategies, a lot of planning, a lot of how they approach the problem. So that gave me a good base.
Right, right, right. That's great. Like you were CEO and founder of a company, and at the same time you were also working for another company, if I am not wrong, to
Now,
put it
after I
together.
finished the thing, then later I went there. So I always did one thing at a time. That is also I recommend. You
Okay.
can't do two things at a time. So you
Mm.
finished, I exited out of Casper and then I went and worked for Ensilica, Sonral, and then now I'm doing it. So I believe in doing one thing properly. And whatever you do it with a full heart. Don't keep your legs in two boats, right? Then you will not be able to do both properly. So whatever you do, whenever I'm working for company, I'm full-heartedly giving my full to that. I work for Synopsys, I work for Ericsson, Metro Optics, you and I, Scotty, right? And I work in Silicon Valley, everything, full heart to that particular thing. And then when I stepped out, now I'm running PNC, I'm giving full heart to that. So that's important, focus and full heart. If you start doing multiple things, jack of all and master of none, it doesn't work.
Great. So like talking about tips to a newbie, can you explain in more detail how to start a company, how to come up with the one idea that you think that it will work, and what mistakes one shouldn't do?
Very good question. I think we can talk about it for hours together, but I think in a snapshot, I would say very important part is, first of all, decide, are you doing a product, are you doing a services? Number one. Number two, have a business plan. Number three, have a good board of advisors, board of directors. Number four, have good mentors who can guide you. Number five, have good cash backup and plan ahead. Have 90 days plan, have 1 year plan, have 3 years plan, have 5 years plan. Think about the end in mind, have the exit plan in mind, then you can do it. And also don't be emotionally attached to the company, because the moment you're emotionally attached to the company, you may not be able to exit in the right time. Yes, you have to be passionate about it, but think about it from the business perspective as an entity and what is good for you, and create value for all the stakeholders of the company, including the people who are working with you, your board of directors, your investors, they're all stakeholders. So everyone should benefit out of it. It should be a win-win journey. Your customer should be happy. Your employee should be happy. Whoever is running with you, whoever is part of that particular enterprise should be happy. They should be happy that they work with you, knowledge-wise, finance-wise, return-wise, experience-wise, journey-wise. Not only the end of the journey is important, the journey experience is very important.
What do you think, what traits one should possess to become CEO? What work for you? And also traits one should have other than technical skills?
I think for a good entrepreneur, you should have a good core team. It can be board of advisors or board of directors or the investors. You should be surround yourself with the smart people, right? And the core team should have a varied skills. It may not be only you, but the core team with whom you're in sync should have marketing skills, sales skills, HR skills, finance skills, and people management, project management, customer management, all the skills, whatever is required to make it successful. So your core team is very important. And also you should have the good relationship with who are part of this journey, call them employees, or you call them as a part of whoever is part of the company. Make sure everyone who is part of it understand the vision, mission, and make sure you convey it very clearly. Over communication is better than under communication. All the stakeholders of the entity should be in sync, and they should all benefit from the success of it.
Right. So like talking about core teams, of course, like I think you may have been the one for recruiting the people. So like if you are like recruiting someone, so what skills would you be looking in the person so that you think he is the perfect fit to your company?
So for each job, that specialized person is required. For example, I cannot take an engineer and make him a HR. So for each job, specialized skills is required, number one. Number two, you have to see their passion and your vision for that post should match. It is not about interview. It's about their passion, their liking should match the requirement of that particular job profile. For example, when we are hiring freshers or initial experienced people for verification job, let's be very specific. I like to look at the passion. They need to know digital design skills, C++, OOP skills, preferably SVUVM. But they should like coding. They should really like problem solving. They should be good at debugging. They should be able to put real hard work in the initial days. They should be able to understand and passionate about it with full energy. That is what I look for.
Right. Great. So moving forward, like you also come back with this company PNC, and now you are currently founder and CEO. So like how did you actually bounce back to become CEO of another company?
So this was again like, because I reinvented myself. I worked for other company for 6 to 7 years in UK. So this time I'm starting it from the London. So now it's a UK based company. and I'm settled in UK now because of the family, and so it's a UK based company. I opened it in UK first, and then have a subsidiary in India. And what happens is I have got a different model this time. I'm trying to solve a problem of niche services, quality services, not just simple staff augmentation. Doing the project, especially starting with the verification, doing end-to-end project, acting as a verification team of the company, from the verification strategy, verification planning to environment development, test case development to coverage closure, sign off. I'm taking end-to-end projects from different parts of the world, especially UK, Europe, Israel, and getting it executed in UK and in different parts of Europe and then in India. So this is a problem I'm trying to solve. I'm trying to build a value with a niche, good team, and giving them the international opportunities.
Right.
Creating a good brand value with the quality in the international space. I want to create a good quality brand name for me and my team in the international space, and we have to make an impact, and we should be respected for the good, authentic, passionate company.
Right. So, sir, if I understood right, the Casper technology was your company back in India, or was it again somewhere in
No,
foreign?
it was in India. That was in
Okay.
India. I was based in India that time. I came back from UK and started it in India.
Okay.
And I was in India based from 2005 to 2012, 2013. Then I relocated in 2014 to UK. And this time I'm based in UK now. And I've started the company in UK, and I have a team in India.
Right. So geographical wise, do you face any differences in starting company in India or in UK, or was it
I
the
think
same?
it is okay. It is the same.
Hmm.
But I think sometimes some projects requires people from some area because of the confidentiality, IP rights.
Right.
So it helps, and it helps to be sometimes near to your customers. So that was my learning from when I ran the company from purely from India. I was thinking that I should have more traveled to US or Europe so that I'm near to the customers. So when I'm near to the customer, I can understand their problem better. I can relate to them, and I can give them the solution better. And that is the advantage I have now sitting in UK. And then, my Europe customers, UK customers, and Israel customers are near to me. I will go into the US later, but right now I'm giving the services to that. Then I'm sitting near to the customers. And I understand their culture, what are their expectations more clearly. So I'm able to tailor-make, customize the solutions to them.
Okay. Right. So you're mainly focused on service-based companies. You're focused on providing service, maybe to
Niche services, cutting edge, just not staff augmentation, and niche services, and in the core area, especially on the design verification, we do a little bit design. But in the end, our vision is to do end-to-end chip, but we are not getting into physical design. Physical design will work with the partners, but we'll be able to do a complete chip for anyone who they come. If someone comes and tells me do a complete chip, I'll be able to do from architecture, design, verification, and outsource the PD, get it done, and solve the problem of doing a chip for anyone.
Right. I get it, like design and verification. Also, on another side, I also see that you guys also provide services with these latest technologies of 5G, 6G. So I'm not getting it. How is SoC or chip is related to these 5G and 6G technologies?
So chip is there in every technology, right? One of the things I focus is on the domain specific. Of course, for verification, we need SVUVM, formal emulation, this techniques. That is one angle, but the other angle is what the domain. See, I've worked extensively in telecom from the beginning of my career, and in the processors, and in the image processing, and in the 5G, 6G, starting from SONET SDH, Ethernet, USB, all these things. So that will give a double advantage. You know the verification domain, plus you know the protocol domain, image processing, and in future AI, ML, this type of thing. So that will give a double advantage as a company to build it. So for any engineer starting also, I would say they have to specialize in some areas, plus the verification domain. That will give them a double advantage. It might be a PCIe, USB, GPU, image processing, 5G, 6G, or anything. But it adds to their resume and adds to the value, because you don't have to learn anything, right? Everything, it helps, and it will be cross-utilized.
Right. Also, can you give us a glimpse how is this, AI is flourishing in every areas now? So how would you integrate AI and chip Is there any domain to be
I think it's
specific?
always happening already. AI is used heavily in
Mm,
development of the chip already, in design part, in verification, especially in verification for the debug. It is being used.
mm,
It is used to develop the environment. It is used in the debugging process. It is used in the many parts of the even physical design. In every flow, it is used. If you see all the EDA companies, all of them are using it. AI automates. AI improves the productivity. AI helps you to do a lot of things automatically, right? AI is a fancy word for the old automation, right?
mm,
It's the intelligent automation, right? AI, ML, so those type of things. It is helping. Also, there are AI chips being done. So, especially for the AI software loads, there are AI chips being done. So that's a specialized part. But AI will be used heavily in the future, and that is why even we are trying to get closer to it. AI is used in the networking. AI is used to network optimize. AI is used to software optimize. AI is used to hardware optimize. There are many things happening, and I think you have seen already the chatbots. Everything is AI based, right? Simple example is in the Netflix. Search for a movie based on the AI, it will give you the suggestions. That's the simplest example of AI. It will understand your behavioral, your previous searches, and create a model. Based on that, it will product, this is the movie you will like, this is the movie you will. Same way in the verification, by understanding the verification environment, it will predict, this is the test case you can develop, this is the way you can debug, this is the way you can debug faster. As far as it gives you a aid, it will be always helpful.
right.
And that will has a really a revolutionary impact on every aspects of human being.
Mm-hmm. Like revolutionary impact. Do you think positive or negative? Like you told AI.
Positive.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, always in any technology, it can be used for a little bit bad, but it definitely. But of course, there will be small elements. They will be using it to
Mm,
control your car. Someone may some hacker may control your car on the future. Like in the future, definitely, you just put your postcode and the car will drive you, right? But there is always an element that someone may hack and control your car. That's always there. There are some people use the technology for a negative, but
mm,
all in all, it will be a positive impact. The
mm,
simplest example is, see, olden days, we used to take the money out of the bank. We used to go and stand in the queue and stand for half an hour to take the money out. Today, you don't even have to take the money out. Sitting in the home, you will do the app to app transfer. So your life has improved. Your quality of life has improved because of that. Even in the communication, we used to pay when we went outside in India. We used to pay $5 for a 1 minute call, international line. But today, WhatsApp is free. So it has revolutionized. Technology is used. But of course, some people use WhatsApp, Instagram for something bad, small part. But in general, it has improved the quality of many people of the world. It has made world a better place.
right. But do you think this is still be better for like verification engineers? Because I think like because it consists more of a chunk of debugging thing. So if it is automated, then is these jobs
Still,
or roles is
still, your level of abstraction goes high. For example, initially when the computer came, some people were thinking all jobs will go off. But computer, did it take off all jobs? Do you find any job? It created more opportunities.
yeah, yeah.
So it's always AI is the same thing. I think it's just a mindset. People thought when the car came,
Mm,
the bullock cart became car, right? From the car, aeroplane, right? So everything, whenever something new comes up, people are always hesitant, right? But then we move on. We cannot still today go in the bullock carts. So we have gone to car, then we have gone to flight. So it evolves, but always there will be job opening. But it has to be reinvented. For
mm,
example, in India, the STD booth has gone out. No one has the STD booth, but then the STD booth operator is doing something else now. So there will be some impact. So you need to adapt. You have to grow. You have to improve your skills. You will adapt, and there will be more opportunities. You do high value, more higher value you do, more benefits you get.
right, right. Just let me fix my headphones. Yeah. Hello. Can you just say something?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right.
Okay. Okay, fine. Okay, sir. So, like, unlike IT and software fields, which is said to be easier when it comes to startups because they are not heavily dependent on hardware. So, like, what's your take on this? Like, do you think it is difficult for like electronics engineer or maybe in field of VLSI, it is difficult to bring up startups, especially product based?
Yeah. So I think services based is okay, but the niche services based in middle path. Product based, it requires a little bit more talent and more investment, huge investment. For example, to do a chip
Hmm.
product, it requires 100 million.
Yeah.
So the investment should be ready. So it's not that easy as in the software, because I've also done software products, embedded products. It's much more easier to innovate
Mm.
there because of the open source. But in future, there'll be open source software. It's coming up. There's open source OS FPGA. There's a FPGA thing, open source tools. I think it'll evolve, but it is more harder to do products without huge investments as of now.
Mm. Right. Um, and like for like not for just the leaders or the CEOs, but how do you look for the maybe engineers or the job seekers in the lights of like in the future for like VLSI and electronics?
I think it's fantastic time. At least next 5 to 10 years is fantastic time. They
Mm.
should look at semiconductors. It'll give you the more satisfaction, more return on investment, more passion you have. I think you need more chips at the IoT level, at the AI level, at the edge. There's the intelligence at the edge, data center, cloud, mobility, everything. You need more chips. Finally, software has to work on the chips. So more different types of softwares you have more chips required. Your chips are there in every part of your life, in your fridge, in your whatever you have. That is all IoT, right? In whatever cars, this amount of electronics increasing in the car, transportation system, mobiles, laptops. So it's a good time to be in semiconductors.
Yeah. Do you think it is going to take over IT or software
It
fields?
may not take over IT, because for every VLSI engineer, there's a 10 software engineers, if you see the
Mm.
hierarchy. Because you don't require, see, if you do one chip, right, so many softwares you can write. So always the software people will be more. So it is always in the ratio, right? For every hardware design engineer, there's a 3 embedded engineer. For every 3 embedded engineer, there's a higher 10 software engineers. So that ratio will be there. There's nothing about taking over. It's always complementary growth. More hardware grows, more software will grow.
Yeah.
So it's always finally the systems, finally what problems you're solving of an end customer, what business requirements you're reaching. So it's not a competition, but it's a complementary.
Right. 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 And like being an employee, being an CEO, what difference and change you have seen over like past and present of your company that you have started?
I think it's okay. I think, it's a journey. Everything has got its own thing. When you're employee also, when you are in a higher position or having a responsibility, when you're running a company, you've got a different responsibility. The more higher you grow, more value you create. It's a different responsibility. You plan it out. You have a plan. You have a, um, you know, exit thinking, and then, you have the work-life balance. All that impact what you do. So you should enjoy the journey. Everything is worth it. Finally, it has to be a good work-life balance. You should create an impact wherever you are, for your country, for your nation, for your people around you. That
Mm.
is what gives you the satisfaction. Finally, you should see what gives you the satisfaction, and are you happy? If you're not happy, you cannot make the people around you happy.
Right, right, right. That's great word of advice. Now, like you have like reached to a stage where you can actually see over your past. So, like, how do you feel looking back to your own journey?
I think it is nice. By God's grace, it's a good journey. I think you go ups and downs, all part of everyone. But at the same time, I think you learn a lot, you have impacted a lot, then you are ready to leverage it in the future. You are, you are enjoying the things, what you do. I think we should be, thankful that we are the blessed part. We have this opportunity. We have got so much of impact. We are leading a decent lifestyle. You're, so I think I'm happy about it. Of course, always when you look back, you can do something better. You could have done it differently, but that's always if and buts. But at the end, you are happy where you are and you're looking forward to it. You should live in the present, plan for the tomorrow,
Mm.
learn from yesterday, then we go forward.
Yeah. So, like, what are your plans for tomorrow? Like, are you going to bring this company to a larger scale, or like,
Yeah. So
yeah,
I want to build a very value based, integrity based, highly technical based company, solving the real problems, giving tangible quality results, creating a good name for India, UK, wherever it is situated, having an impact on people's career. Whoever worked with us, we should say that, that has impacted, that has given a good stage for us to go ahead, creating value for themselves, making them the journey experience is good, and they should enjoy working and learning and growing in their own individual careers. And we want to build a good design and verification team which is world class, delivering successful first time pass silicon, being proud of what we are doing qualitatively, and having a good name with the customers, employees, everyone. And at the end, we'll have an exit policy, which is exactly I've not thought through it. It can have multiple ways of exit, but at least I'm looking forward to build a good minimum 100 to 200 people team, which will have an impact at the global stage in the design and verification space.
Great, great. Now, like I would actually wish you all the best for your whatever plans ahead. But before that, is there any final tip that you would like to give to our audience? Any advice, a general advice, or maybe some advice specifically to like a journey of an entrepreneur? It may be anything.
I think I would love to say that, for an engineer, I would say do what you like and study from all the resources available online, courses, mentors, blogs, events. Learn as much as possible. Put your best foot, focused efforts, work-life balance, integrity, and passion. For the entrepreneurs, I would say first have a business plan. Make sure you have thought through 90 days, 1 year, 3 years, 5 year, and exit plan. Have the right mentors, board of directors, board of advisors. Talk to the people who have done it before so that you can reduce the mistakes, and plan it well and adapt it. Have a reserve and make sure work-life balance is maintained even when you're in the entrepreneur's journey. And then so that all parts of you are happy, your health, your family life, your community life, your social life. So everything should move ahead. So that's my thinking. And then at the end, you have to create value as an engineer or as an entrepreneur. I think you have to create a value, positive value, make a world a better place.
Incredible words of wisdom. Okay, sir, thank you. It's very difficult to actually compress your 20 plus years of experience into one podcast, but I'm definitely sure that if we get an opportunity, we will actually continue one more podcast. But
Sure.
at this stage, I bid you bye and all the best for your career ahead.
Thank you very much. And I also appreciate Sanket and Rajat for doing all this. I think this is very useful for many people. I appreciate all your efforts and I wish you all the best. And from the bottom of my heart, I feel you're doing a really good job. It is helpful for the next leaders, next generation engineers. This will have a huge impact at the global stage. Thank you very much and have a good week ahead.